Hello YouTube, Reddit Math here, and welcome back to the Red Estate. So, just to get it out of the way first, a little bit under the weather today, so the voice might be a little weak, but we've got some monsters and eldritch abominations that are due for a right ass-kicking, and so we need to go ahead and get to it. A couple of things I want to do before we get started. One is Louvet here could use some de-stressing, and we'll only go to the bar for right now. We're going to go ahead and pop him into there. And then we've got 17 deeds, which isn't quite enough to do any upgrades here, but in the spirit of...
Fan the flames, mold the metal. We are raising an army.
Indeed we are. In the spirit of getting ready for all of our characters to get these upgrades, we'll go ahead and reduce the cost of that a little bit. As soon as, basically, if we were a little bit more flush with cash, I'd probably do it now. What I'd like to do is get like a party of 4, maybe these top 4 guys here, or perhaps these top 3 and Phaeton. I'd like to get them ready to head into the runes and take on the Necromancer Apprentice, but that's about 1,500 gold to upgrade the armor to the next level for these guys, and I don't have enough to do that for 4 people and still have the supplies to head in. So I think we're going to do one kind of simple short mission with a fairly limited amount of supplies in the hopes of coming back with a pretty hefty sum of gold. For this one, I'm thinking villain and vain. Well, and then everybody else just kind of falls right into place. For our other level 1s, could do... Ooh, nothing sacred. I like that. Alright, we could do something like this. So from the 3rd slot... all she's doing is poison dart from the 3rd and toxin trickery. Let's see, from the 2nd slot, he can open vein, reach up blast. So he's got everything we would want him to have. Let's go ahead, before we do that then, let's go ahead and head into the guild with Raleigh. We'll spend just a little bit unlocking some of her skills, like thrown dagger, flashing daggers. Do we need a lunge? I guess it could be worthwhile for her to have her movement abilities already unlocked. So let's see, what can we do with her? So I like flashing daggers. Actually, as a random pro tip, I didn't realize this for a long time. The skills will actually appear on the character in the dungeon in the order they're selected here. So like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. You can use this to customize how they appear, so that your most used ability is always like the very first one. I find that very handy. It's not explained. The game's in early access. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of tutorializing that's not currently explained. I'm thinking flashing daggers, or sorry, thrown dagger, flashing daggers. Then we'll grab lunge and shadow fade, so that she has both of her movement abilities. We are giving up poison darts, but I think we can make do without it. We don't have any other damage over time, so I feel like it gets better the more of it you have. If you have multiple characters that are doing DOT, it kind of exponentially gets more effective, especially as several of the characters do it to multiple characters in the enemy rank. So I'm thinking that setup should be fine. Let's maybe finally remember to equip some trinkets. We do have the cleansing crystal. Did get a comment about the cleansing crystal being lost due to me dismissing the other occultist. I'll be honest, when I read that, my immediate thought was, oh crap, I can't believe I did that. I quickly popped into the game and was able to confirm that that is not the case, and that the cleansing crystal was still on us, it had automatically moved to the chest. Crit and dodge. Yeah. Let's maybe crit and dodge with this solar bracer for her. Her crit is a definite advantage that she has. So we might as well get that as high as we can. Max HP but less stress resistance. Accuracy but less dodge. I'm still kind of left with never being like super excited over these. I do think the Highwayman could make do with that. Some additional dodge at the cost of some stress. And then likewise some additional health at the cost of some stress. But I don't really feel like I have any trinkets that are super amazing. And so that's probably all I'm going to do for that. Again, just a short mission. I'm hoping that this is just a walk in the park. For our provisioning, we're going to go pretty light. We do have the occultist as a dedicated healer, so there shouldn't be too many problems there. We'll grab like 2 bandages, so that if he stacks any really inopportune bleed, we can do something about it. But otherwise, I think we're going to be fine. I'm going to grab 2 shovels because the risk of not having them is just too great. But otherwise, I think that's going to be it for us. Like I said, I'd really like to get some of our gold stores kind of rejuvenated so that we can start doing some character upgrades, start really hitting the bosses hard, and at least, you know, clearing out the level 1 bosses and getting ready for those level 3 missions that we need to be starting.
Corruption has soaked the soil, sapping all good life from these groves. Let us burn out this evil.
Well, this is a weird little thing. I guess I really only have to backtrack 1 space. I can go here, and back, and then down, and then over. Alright, that's not too bad. When I first looked at that, I was like, oh god, I've got to spiral around and do some crazy things. But that's not true at all. Alright, we do have the use of a shovel right off the bat. We'll go ahead and... Alright, he gained... Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't think they had equal trap disarm normally, but he did gain some from that trinket. Ooh, 50 gold. Game's spoiling me already.
A victim to the spreading corruption.
Right. And I don't think
malformed with missing
a grave robber could possibly pass up digging through some mummified remains. I actually do know, so that's what is needed for that curio. That wasn't worth it. I only got 150 gold back. That basically was the cost of the bandage. Oh well. Some days you win, some days you lose, right? Alright. Some more left luggage. It's trapped. We are blighted. Not bad. For 6. And we only have 20 HP. That's not fantastic. And I was just about to say, hopefully it wears off before we get into a fight. Nah, couldn't have that, could we? Let's go ahead and Grape Shot Blast. When we've got 3 enemies, that's the absolute most opportune time to do it. She's down by 4, but 6, I can do 3 to 5. I can do 4 to 7. Yeah.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Fall, ye fiend, fall. Okay. Lunge with the flashing dagger. And again, in the order they were chosen earlier. When I get to the point that I'm going to, like, spend all the money on all the people, I will go through, like, once characters have all their skills unlocked. And I'll definitely want to make sure the skills are in the order that I want them in. And I generally tend to do, you know, 1 is... Oh man, is most commonly used ability kind of all the way back to least useful. Let's see if we can stack some bleed from her. And I was wrong, of course. We do have another character that can use a damage over
them
time
no
in
quarter.
Hellions if it bleeds. And Dismas' Open Vein. Actually, we have a ton of damage over time. I don't know what I was thinking. Alright, that's up to 12. He can't hit. Might as well go ahead and get a little bit of healing on her. Stack a little bit more bleed. Nope, didn't do it. Okay. He's down to 8. Of course, he's going to summon some little friends to help him. Please just die. Okay, he's at 8. He's taking 4 per turn. Alright, that gets him into I'm gonna die on the next turn range, which is very, very good for our purposes. Any of the attacks would really be pretty useless, so I might as well heal. She's down 4. And getting some low healings off of him, which is unfortunate. Nice. Alright, and with that, the fight is actually over. None of our other characters have anything they would really want to buff themselves with, so we'll just go ahead and end it.
The greater the glory.
There is technically an advantage to doing that. One thing to keep in mind, like if you're... I generally prescribe, you know, if you know the fight's going to be over, you can stall for just a little bit, right? Like you can buff some characters, get off a heal or two, all those types of things. But there is technically an advantage to getting the final blow versus letting damage over time do it for you, in that your character that gets the kill usually gets a little bit of stress release. If a character's damage over time attack was the same killing blow, they won't gain anything out of it from a stress standpoint. So something to always sort of keep in mind, that there is a little bit of a trade-off there. I wonder if he can attack from the 3rd rank. Do we ever fight? We fight 4 maggots sometimes. They have something that they've got from back there. That can only do 2 to 4. I guess it's still healing. You know, finally it gets something better than a 1 or a 2. Let's go ahead.
Executed with impunity.
I like that. I was about to say, let's go ahead and stack some bleed up on that little guy, but we didn't need to do that at all. We just needed to kill him. Maybe? Resisted it. Okay. It's not the end of the world. We can take him on the 2nd try, and then, man, like clockwork.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Alright, well, bring on your resistance. I can deal with that. Again, apologies for my my reduced vocal acuity today. A blutomania. But sometimes our mortality gets the better of us. Obsessed with cleanliness. And today is just one of those days where the throat was not doing it. Put off recording this as long as I could to still ensure that we had a video up for today. Got a good night's sleep, all that sort of stuff, and I'm recording this in the morning instead of the evening before, but it's still just not there. Thinking, let's go ahead and get 2 misses and a dodge. Yeah, that's really, you know, that's primarily what I was going for there. 2 misses and a dodge. Alright, Eldritch Push wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world, actually. She can always Shadow Fade. I do think sometimes I can do 3 to 5. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I do think sometimes I don't know if I can say they're undervalued. I think maybe they're overlooked. I think if when people are considering it, they usually see the value, but then when it comes time to pick skills or rate heroes, it's not considered as much. Which is the ability to move your characters, and I tend to value
elbow blow.
Nice. I tend to value, some movement ability within your party, as it can mean the difference on a surprise. And of course, maybe people aren't planning for surprises, right? That's not the standard. Yeah, if he'd had his duelist advance, that could have been taken care of there. It's not the standard, of course, so people don't tend to consider their party while they're reordered. But even one or two of your characters with some movement-based abilities, such as the Jester or the Grave Robber, which are both very high on skills that allow them to move up and back in the party lineup, I think can actually be extremely valuable, just from the perspective of sometimes you might end up with a surprise that means your first turn is virtually lost to just reorganizing everybody, or it could mean you simply are forced to use certain skills, and by the end of the first turn you're back in the order you would want to be. Oh man, that bleed could have been crucial.
Dazed.
Really, with a crit right there. I was thinking if we could have bled him so that he's out, we would have had just the one guy to deal with. Go ahead and self-heal him. But very nice with the 10 crit. We could have prevented things like this from happening. Okay. We need to get ahead of this. This should easily get a kill on at least one of them, and it gets it on 2, leaving one guy barely alive. As long as it connects, it was going to kill. Alright.
This expedition at least promises success.
Yeah. I would say we're doing quite well on this expedition, in fact. Let's go ahead and get our torchlight all the way up.
The light, the promise of safety.
Now we are, we're looking for completion of room battles, and we are nearing the last of the rooms. This needs, I believe, anti-venom. Indeed.
Wealth beyond measure, awarded to the brave and the foolhardy alike.
Ugh. See, now that was actually, so like that anti-venom, like, I want to say paid for itself, except we actually didn't buy any to come in here. We just picked it up on our way. Again, I feel like mummified remains are the purview of a grave robber for sure. So we just picked up the anti-venom out on the adventure, but it was definitely worth more than like the 150 we would have paid for it had we actually bought it. Okay. 5 and 3. I really feel like this puts these guys in prime grape shot blast range, where it could potentially get 2 kills off of those guys. Yeah, of course. I'm sorry, Dismas. We just used the last of the anti-venom so that you could search a tree. We're not gonna have any available to, not let you die. Sorry about that. 11. Okay. Since he is blighted, let's go ahead and get him up. He's gonna end up taking a little bit of damage there. Nothing for the back row. I usually, instead of bleed out, I would generally prefer to have Iron Swan there. Basically for situations like this one. Just go ahead, get him moved up. Everybody will still be able to attack the 3rd rank. That could hit him now, including Dismas. You could just do that to him. Alright, not really a big deal then.
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Let's go ahead and continue though. We'll check out the Pristine Fountain, which reinvigorated the hero, which had 0 effect. I guess that was probably a de-stressor. Should have known. I was hoping it was going to be a heal. Alright. Got a pack that contains the loots. Hey, 850 gold. Man, I'm already glad that I kept going. Alright, let's see. Say our occultist should check out our troubling effigy. Oh, any power it had was once lost. Once had was lost. Alright, we'll go ahead and pop our final torch. We'll head into our final room. We already know it doesn't have people though, so yeah, I guess that will do it. Alright, we'll go ahead and complete that one. Pretty straightforward.
The agents of pestilence will yet be driven from our woods.
I did want to pick up the Unholy Slayer's Ring. I'm thinking in the runes on a Crusader, like against the Necromancer, the Necromancer's Apprentice boss, that plus 35% Unholy could be pretty amazing. Alright, Dismas gained level 2. It's finally nice to have you with us, old buddy. Oh, sweet. And then some very nice quirks. Precise Striker, I will totally take the crit chance. Warrior of Light is nice. I don't know that it will have any effect on her yet. You know, consider 10% damage when she's doing 3 to 7 isn't actually 1 yet. So that may not actually boost anything. May affect her crits. Not really sure. Again, 10% damage below 50% HP. May not actually impact him very much right now. Just due to rounding.
In truth, I cannot tell how much time has passed since I sent that letter.
Okay. I really am waiting for the big reveal to be that our ancestor is not dead. Because how else is he narrating all of the things that are going on right now? Still at 30. Came out of that, man, smelling like roses, though. Not a whole lot to really do there. Louvet at level 1, he could probably deal with another level 1 mission without getting too stressed out. Let's check out our characters. We do have 4. We could make a party out of that, which is actually quite convenient. And we already have all of these character classes, so I'm not super excited. Let me think for just a moment. You know, there's no like reason not to pull in multiple of them. Obviously, we have 2 Crusaders from our very first recruitment cycle. But I'm thinking, you know, front line, we got plenty. Back line, we got plenty. Like, there's nobody that I really feel like I'm missing. So, kind of gonna hold off for now. Might as well do some quick upgrades, considering we have bust and crest. Let me see. Sanitarium is busty and cresty. Alright. Sounds like maybe it could be like a wing joint, busty and cresties. I don't. Maybe not. Let's reduce some treatment costs.
Curious methodologies and apparatus can calm even the most tormented soul.
Kind of okay with going pretty all in on all of that. We do have, as also some comments have pointed out, we do have some very special snowflakes in our party. We've got a lot of quirk action going on here that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to get rid of. Although, man, I'm kind of back where I started. Of course, I did just do a little bit of upgrading, but we're still about that 10,000 gold mark. We could, I think I want to keep all of these guys fresh and ready, and then, yeah, and then next week we can go ahead and take on the Necromancer Apprentice. The focus ring is probably a little too good to pass up. One other thing I might recommend, you know, when scouting out whether or not you're going to be taking on bosses, the rewards for the boss fight still do change. So like there's a tough ring here available now, which is pretty decent for a good tanky character. The you know, like man-at-arms, that kind of thing. The focus ring, accuracy and crit, very good. I like for the minus 5% damage. Like I might shove that on a leper, for example. Speaking of lepers, accuracy in rank 1, again, very nice. The 10% damage, a little bit steeper, but as you can see, the rewards change, and therefore it's kind of worthwhile keeping an eye on them, and maybe just finally taking the opportunity to fight those bosses when the reward is worth it. So we don't have any characters that are going to need to de-stress. I think we'll probably go ahead and end this episode here, and next week we'll look at taking on our next boss fight. I do thank you guys for joining me for this episode. Again, I'll take this opportunity to apologize for my vocal talents. Even if they're not that great normally, I'm sure they were a little bit less so today. But I still hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, feel free to subscribe to see more videos daily. Leave a like or a comment if you have anything to say about this or any of my other episodes. And I will catch you guys next time.